Um, can I understand myself or other big five tests be retaken after some time, e.g., 1 to 2 years, and be fairly accurate? I ask because I believe I have changed. Well, you might have changed. I mean, look, first of all, people do change as they mature. Personality is relatively stable across time, but relatively stable doesn't mean completely stable. It means that, if you were extremely extroverted, the probability that in 5 years you're going to be extremely introverted is very low. But if you were extremely extroverted, it's conceivable that, in 1 or 2 years you'll be moderately extroverted. You can move, and some of that's situational. Some of it's learning, some of it's maturation. So one of the most reliable findings in the personality literature is that as people get older, they get more conscientious, more agreeable, and more emotionally stable, less neurotic. And that those three traits clump to make a super trait we called it stability. So people get more stable as they get older. And I've seen people learn to be more conscientious. That's for sure. That happens, I think, whenever you take people who are young and sort of flighty and put them through a rigorous apprenticeship program, where they discipline themselves. And I've seen people certainly become less lower in neuroticism and less agreeable for that matter. So yes, you can take them. Sure, take it again 2 years later and see. The other thing you can do if you're really curious about your personality is have some other people take the personality test about you, because some things about your personality and they're accurate to some degree. Self-report has some degree of accuracy, but then you can get information from other people as well. And so that's another way of determining, of helping get an accurate picture of who you are. So you can change. The more dramatic the change, the more effort is required. That's a good way of thinking about it. So we know, for example, that you can change IQ with shift in socioeconomic status. So imagine that you have identical twins separated at birth, and you put one twin into a relatively well-off family and one twin into a relatively poor family. And let's assume that being rich has some advantages with regards to intellectual development. You need a 3 standard, if I remember correctly, you need a 3 standard deviation, might be 4, but you need a 3 or 4 standard deviation move upward in socioeconomic status to produce a 1 standard deviation increase in IQ. So you have to move from something like the 5th percentile. I might have the stats a bit wrong because I'm trying to do this on the fly. You have to move from the bottom 5th percentile to the top 5th percentile in wealth to move from average intelligence to 85th percentile in intelligence. So you can change as a consequence of the situation, but the bigger the change, the more costly. And that could be costly in terms of resources or effort. So